When it comes to smartwatches, wearables, and just health trackers in general, there are so many options on the market right now, and Huawei is one of the biggest players on the market with so many options. In fact, I remember the first Huawei watch back in the day that did barely anything, but it was still quite smart. And when it comes to design, Huawei has always been one of those people that comes with a really nice design when it comes to their smartwatches. In front of us today, we have the Huawei GT4, and they come in various options. So you can go for the smaller 41mm version, you can go for the 46mm, and there's also a 49mm Ultimate Edition, which comes in this gold finishing, which we'll talk about as well. So sizes aside, I think they all look good in terms of the design. So if we look at the standard, I say standard, but if we look at the 46mm version, for example, it's finished in this nice silver finishing, which is really good. I love the material, and it just looks really smart. Even the strap as well looks really cool, especially in this green finishing as well. Very comfortable on the wrist, so there's no issues at all. You can wear this for a prolonged period of time. This is rated at 5 ATM, whereas the Ultimate Edition is rated at 10 ATM. So technically, you could take this scuba diving if you want to. You can go up to 100 meters of diving with this. It's got depth sensor in there as well, so you'll be able to monitor how deep you've actually gone as well. Depending on which you go for will determine the sort of battery life you'll be getting. So if you go for the smallest 41mm, you'll be looking at 7 days battery life. If you go for either of these two, you're looking at 14 hours of battery life. If you look at them, they look similar in some ways and look different in many ways, because the Ultimate Edition, you're looking at around £3,000 to get one of these. It's very expensive. And the reason why it's expensive is because you get this gold finishing mixed with ceramic as well on there. So the bezel, you can see the gold element on the bezel. And then the controls on the side, so the rotary dial right at the top, that's finished in gold as well. And then the bottom, which is got the ECG sensor on there, that's a mixture of titanium and gold finishing because of that ECG sensor that's in there. So it needs to be very responsive and needs to work very well. You can also notice that it's kind of bigger as well, so it's larger, it's chunkier in terms of size. So that's something to bear in mind as well. It weighs a bit more as well, so you feel the weight on your wrist. So if you're going to be wearing this to go for things like running and stuff like that, you're going to start feeling that weight on your wrist when you start running. In true Huawei fashion, they both feature some of the most robust amounts of exercise modes that you can think of. So you can go swimming with them, you can go running, you can do treadmill, indoor, outdoor stuff. There's so much you can do when it comes to the exercise options available. For example, we can just tap the bottom button, which you can also customize, and you can see the options available on here. So we have things like, if I go right to the top there, you got courses available using AI. You got things like outdoor run, track run, indoor running, outdoor walk, indoor walk. It's just endless. Pool swim, open swimming, skiing, hike. There's triathlons there as well. There's so much options on there that you can actually do. If you go through the menu on the Ultimate Edition, you do get some extra options available on the menu in terms of what you can actually do with this. So if I just tap the top one, we can scroll with this as well. It's also a touchscreen, as you can see there. And depending on which one you go for, the 46 version has a bigger PPI in terms of pixel per inch compared to the Ultimate Edition, because the Ultimate Edition has a bigger screen, so you lose some of those pixel per inch on there. So you got dive in, so you can go dive in. You got expedition mode, you got workout records, workout status. You got things like lactate threshold, which I didn't really take advantage of because you'd have to go from some solid exercise to be able to get those threshold and numbers to pop up for your threshold settings. But you just put your settings on there, and then it locates the GPS and stuff like that. Another thing on here is GPS takes a bit longer compared to some other smartwatches on the market, like the Apple Watch Ultra 2, or even stuff like the Pixel Watch 2 as well. So it takes a bit longer to locate and connect and lock onto your GPS. But once you lock on, you're good to go. Then we have things like ECG. You got something that's pretty cool on here as well. It's atrial stiffness detection, so you can sort of see how constricted your arteries are. So this is pretty cool. It's something that I haven't seen on any other smartwatches. Maybe there are, I don't know. That's something you can do on here, which is pretty cool. You got SpO2, you got skin temperature, you got healthy living, so you get this Clover sort of settings, which shows you like all the things that you need to achieve throughout the day. You got activity records, you got sleep monitoring, stress monitoring, breathing exercise. And what's also cool on here is you have built-in speakers and microphones. So on either of these two, you'll be able to make and receive phone calls when connected to your smartphone. And the sound really good as well. The voice sounds clear, you can hear people clearly, and people can hear you clearly as well using that microphone that's built into them. I think if I was to go for them, cost or pricing not an issue, I'll go for the Ultimate Edition for sure, because it offers just a tad bit more in terms of the sensor and what you can actually do with it. So, but nonetheless, the 46 version here also has a lot of options, a lot of things going on. Good battery life, good level of monitoring in terms of all the basic things that you need, and also a lot of exercise options available. In the box, you do get a charger with them as well, so you can charge them up very quickly on wireless charging, and the battery life is insane. 14 days, sorry, did I say 14 hours before? 14 days of battery life is insane. It's something that you don't get. You get, and I get on average, depending on what I do, 10 days, between 10 days and 14 days, but 14 days easily if I'm just making and receiving phone calls, just generally using it for notifications and all that kind of stuff. Some drawbacks here though, because it's Huawei and all the issues that they've got in this side of the world. You won't be able to use things like NFC for payments here, so Android Pay or Google Pay or whatever it's called these days. You won't be able to use that on here at all, which is a shame. You're also restricted in terms of mapping, so you're going to be using Petal Maps instead of Google Maps, which some people might not find that very useful, but it's there if you need to use your mapping. And you also get things like side-loading apps can be a bit of a pain, so some apps might not be available on the market space, for Huawei's market space here, which is a shame. But other than that, I think those are the drawbacks that you'd be aware of before you get any of these. It's not something that you buy and then you realize later on. But on the basic level, you don't have to have some of those apps, because this is actually quite robust in the level of data. So if you look on the app, we get loads of options, loads of data there as well. This is available with iOS and also available with Android. As you can see in front of us, this is running on my S23 Ultra. But if you have a Huawei device, you might be able to get a bit more native sort of functionality with it. But it works very well with my Android phone here. So looking at the app, if you haven't seen the Huawei Health app before, it's very straightforward to use. So you see things like your basic ring, so you can see what's going on. You can switch that to the Clover as well, which shows you things like your steps, your sleep, your mood for the day, and stress levels and stuff like that. And then if we go down, we can see your exercise record, again, Health Clover, got your heart rate record, your weight tracking, your sleep tracking, stress level, SpO2, skin temperature, and again, activity log. It's there. You can make extra notes as well using that button in terms of, extra things you can see here. You can see you can manage your to-dos as well. So if you go on art, for example, you can see things like your heart rate over time throughout the day. You can see your ECG as well, and then your atrial stiffness detection. You can see that as well. So mine shows normal, thankfully. But yeah, if you click it, it goes into more details about what it is, and it keeps a record over time as well, which I quite like. You have to switch some of these things on. They're not on by default. So you have to go into the device, go into settings, and have them switched on so that you'll be able to use them before, be able to use them on a day-to-day basis, basically. If you go back out, and then we can see things like your sleep record. So sleep record gives you sleep scores as well, which is pretty cool. I like the way that it gives you the points, so you can sort of look at a glance and see the level of sleep you've had, if it's good, bad, what you're missing, and so on and so forth. You can see it over a record of time as well, so up to a year. You can see it there as well. So it will tell you things like your deep sleep, light sleep, REM sleep, deep sleep continuity as well, which is really cool. And then how many times you've woken up, and then breathing quality as well, because you want to be able to see how well you're breathing while you're sleeping, so you can keep an eye on things over a period of time. You can also add record as well, so if you've had a nap and he hasn't picked it up, you can add your record manually, although this picks up everything more or less. Even when I have a nap, it picks up my nap, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I think it's quite robust in terms of the data level that you get, so you don't have to stress too much about getting those third-party applications to work on your Huawei Watch GT4 at all. But I think overall, this is a great smartwatch. It's one of the best smartwatches I've seen, one of the best smartwatches I've used. It's a great alternative to what's on the market right now if you don't want to start spending money on things like Apple Watch or Pixel Watch 2 or whatever else is on the market. This is a viable option, really good option. And if you can splash out on that £3,000, you can get that gold option, which is very premium. It comes with a gold strap, gold finishing strap as well. I think it's actually titanium because it's quite lightweight, but you can swap it for this rubber strap, which I quite prefer. It gives me that Oyster Flex sort of look of Rolexes and stuff. And it's got the gold clasp or buckle there as well. It's a mixture of ceramic, so it's very premium. So if it's worth £3,000, I don't know, it's the most expensive smartwatch I've held in my hands, besides the Mont Blanc, I think, which is £800, £900. I can't remember. When it comes to things like your heart rate accuracy and tracking accuracy and stuff, when I benchmark it up against things like your Apple Watch Ultra 2 or the Google Pixel Watch 2, they're pretty much in the same line. So accuracy is no issue here at all. So when it comes to heart rate monitoring, SpO2, things like that, it works really well. One thing they've also improved on is before I used to have issues with actually reading the skin temperature and SpO2 on my darker skin, but now I think it works really well each and every time, which is really good. That was a concern for me at first, but yeah, it works really well. So in terms of performance, great. In terms of battery life, great. In terms of features, all around great. And in terms of styling and everything else, I think Huawei have done a really good job here. But anyway, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I think I've said everything I had in mind in terms of the negatives and the positives. So if there's anything I'm missing, let me know in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer you. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.